Hi, this is Peter Woolfolk. With 2022 behind us, let me say thank you so very, very much. First, to all of our great guests that provide the exceptional content for this podcast, and to our ever-growing number of listeners and supporters of the Public Relations Review podcast. At the close of 2022, we now have listeners in over 2,000 cities located in 123 countries around the world. Here in the U.S., this podcast has been voted one of the best PR podcasts in America. Because we continue to provide skilled professionals that can present you with excellent content on a wide range of PR topics and the large listener downloads of usable information we deliver, this podcast was awarded a Best PR Podcast trophy from the Nashville chapter of the Public Relations Society of America. We have also won a Best Business Podcast trophy from the American Business Association. I will continue to seek some of the best professionals from all across America and a few from foreign nations to bring you the kind of professional information that is useful to your business and to expand your knowledge about public relations. These professionals are delighted to share this information with you, and it appears from our continued growth that you enjoy listening to them. So once again, thank you so very much for being a listener. Please let your friends and colleagues know about the Public Relations Review podcast. We are available on Amazon, Apple, Audible, Spotify, Google, iHeart, and another 30 or more sites, making us available worldwide. So thank you. And now on to the podcast.
Welcome. This is the Public Relations Review podcast, a program to discuss the many facets of public relations with seasoned professionals, educators, authors, and others. Now, here is your host, Peter Woolfolk.
Welcome to the Public Relations Review podcast and to our listeners all across America and around the world. Now, ChatGPT remains a 500-pound gorilla in public relations conversations and articles. And yes, we're going to continue that conversation today. So question, with all that's been said and written about ChatGPT thus far, what new and compelling ChatGPT benefits can this platform possibly bring to public relations professionals? Well, my guest today will answer that question by outlining a very creative and functional list of helpful ideas generated by ChatGPT. Now, upon reading his article, How PR Teams Can Use ChatGPT in a May edition of Public Relations Today newsletter, I became very excited about several of those ideas. I actually tried several of them and was exceptionally excited about one in particular. Now, after personally experiencing several of these ideas, I began my outreach to get him on this podcast. So joining me today from New York City is Adam Brett. He is the Senior Account Executive with Crenshaw Communications. So Adam, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me, Peter. I'm happy to chat about the blog post and ChatGPT.
Oh, good. Well, let's start with, how did you come up with these ideas? Where did they come from to begin with?
Basically, our PR firm and basically everyone in general in the PR industry has been thinking about ways they can use ChatGPT, even reluctant people, to an extent are sort of at least looking into it, if not fully embracing it. I was sort of on the same route over the last couple of months when it came to technology. And basically, I've been just, anytime, I've had work that I need to get done in a pretty quick manner, or, just couldn't brainstorm an idea on how to approach a given topic, pitch angle, I started playing around with ways ChatGPT can actually help with these angles by just plugging in questions. And basically the blog post and these topics came from the successful ways that I and a lot of my peers have used the service to basically improve our day-to-day activities for our clients and the overall PR firm.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll tell you what, why don't we begin by just starting with exactly what some of those ideas are. You've got a list of them, so let's start with the one, brainstorming fresh pitch angles, and go from there.
The biggest one is definitely brainstorming fresh pitch angles. Most of the time when you've worked in a PR firm and worked with clients for a significant period of time, you have a good idea on the angles you want to go with. But there are just some angles you or even your team would not think of, and that's sort of where ChatGPT can come in. So, example I've written down here is story ideas involving cybersecurity. If you just type that in, my guess is 70, 80, 90% of those ideas you've thought about or your team has thought about, but there might be one or two that you never would have thought of that could not only be a good idea in terms of implementation and generating media coverage, but you also come off really smart to the clients because good chance there that either that was the idea they didn't think of or they had considered it and were surprised you hadn't brought it up to them. So basically, ChatGPT could be a great way to start off in terms of brainstorming and finding new ideas. And, at a minimum, there's no downside to that. You can just see ideas. It lists all the ones you've done or done to extend in the past. Probably a good sign that you're already doing a good job, but can also provide one, if not a ton of new ideas you can expand on.
Well, I tell you, the one that got me excited was the next one on your list, and that is instant text to video. Let's talk about that.
Awesome. So instant text to video is this type of technology is up and coming. I'm guessing there'll be a ton of different versions of this type of technology in the future. But it's basically artificial intelligence that creates videos automatically by using written text or just typing in a unique idea, and it could essentially generate a video utilizing that text or even a specific image. It's great for social media purposes. It's really just up and coming though. I mean, we're getting to a point where artificial intelligence can play a role in every type of media creation, video particularly. I already see a ton of videos already that implement some version of AI and machine learning technology. And this is just one that I think will be very useful, especially in terms of the social media outreach and just engagement outreach that PR firms will implement to create this type of content very quickly on the fly, and can basically produce some videos or different types of materials to go along with upcoming announcements or just something newsworthy.
Well, and that's the one that really got me excited. So I actually looked it up and tracked down some of those platforms that can do that. The thing that I did like about it, that yes, some of them have built-in visuals to go along with the verbiage that goes along, but they also offer you the opportunity to exchange the visuals that they have to add your own, and to also maybe modify the text that you might have wanted to include, or that it might include, so that now you can put your own to it. So I found that exceptionally exciting, particularly if as you said, you want to make something rather quickly, and you don't have to go through the entire exercises of looking for it and editing and all those other things that go along with it. That really got me worked up. So I'm working on how I can include that around some of my podcasting activities. But I thought that was huge.
Yeah,
exciting.
There's a ton of image editing tools, and even over the last decade or two, the very start of video editing tools. But those were extremely basic. Now with this technology, particularly the video component, it's just going to go to a new level because it can essentially create a video so quickly. And then it'll just be a situation where the person utilizing that technology, the particular app, company, etc., will just type in the parameters. Similarly to ChatGPT in terms of text content creation, it'll just be in the form of video. That's probably just beginning. It's going to take off over the next coming years.
Well, I can see it being used even in presentations. If you're with a client and you come up with an idea, rather than it being just a flat photograph, then showing a video will probably get a lot more excitement out of it, just as a demo piece or a pitch piece. I thought that it has a lot of opportunities to be very, very beneficial.
Yes, definitely. There'll be a lot of technology that uses artificial intelligence over the coming years. Obviously, text to video is just a start. There's going to be technology that we didn't even think of, my guess is, that the PR industry can definitely embrace That'll just make things like this so simple. It was like you couldn't even think of making a video a few years ago if you weren't extremely familiar with the process, and now just the way AI is making these things extremely easy for even people that have never done it before.
Well, let me say this: having produced the video, having the video platform on, you've got to add the photos, you've got to put your verbiage in there, and editing and lining up one thing with the other. It's very, very time consuming. I think the formula is for every 1 minute that the video produces is going to take you 1 hour to do it. So being able to just speak it into a microphone and get it done is a huge, huge benefit.
Absolutely.
So now, PR program for thought starters. Let's talk about that briefly.
Yeah, so similar to the pitch angles, the PR program thought starters is more so just different ideas PR firms can bring to their clients. This could be, wide-ranging in terms of just brainstorming new announcements, new byline opportunities, new slogans, new different campaigns, just unique ways that PR firms can look at their client, understand what they do, and outside of the general, pitching a spokesperson to speak about their topic or, media outreach on a new product announcement they have, this technology can be used to generate a ton of new ideas, particularly during the periods where there aren't that many new announcements or, the pitch angles that are out there just aren't generating as much media attention as you would like. ChatGPT can sort of just be used to find any unique idea and way you can leverage your client's current or potential insights, products, services, and find ways to get some media generation or just some coverage, conversations about their expertise in the subject. It's basically an all-encompassing way to basically share ideas with your clients and offer unique ways to get them in the news.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think the thing that really got my attention about this particular one is it says that it can actually produce a host of new ideas that can be used for both byline pieces along with pitch angles. So, it's pretty much handing you everything on a silver platter here.
Absolutely. The best part about it is the more specific you type in ChatGPT, you can just keep, narrowing down where you want the potential ideas you want ChatGPT to illustrate or give you that you could then utilize, tweak, showcase to your client. I think in this one, in this topic, I essentially wrote a way, you could get insights into ways retailers can increase their profits during a period of high inflation. That topic probably started as ways retailers can increase their profits, and then maybe inflation came to mind, and then you just start typing in more and more information to ChatGPT. It generates more and more insights, and next thing you know, you have a new byline topic, you have a new potential pitch angle, you have a new way to get your client in the news and to keep consistent communications going with reporters.
Mm-hmm. Well, I tell you, that's interesting. So let's also talk about it, because I hadn't thought about this, is that it also can become an instant research hub.
Yeah, so this is, I think, one of the better ways, ChatGPT, at least for me, that was one of the first reasons I really started to embrace it. It does have, I believe, a limit on how recently it generates information. For ChatGPT, the basic version, it's from 2021, but soon enough, there'll be versions of this that just instantly can just generate information based on, material in the moment. That's where this is heading. But basically, if you schedule an interview with a reporter in an hour for ways retailers can increase their profits during high inflation, you can essentially just type that into ChatGPT, and it can give you a host of information on the topic that you can use for briefing docs, but you can also just use it to, for yourself to understand a topic. And then it's also just a great way to, understand new clients as well. Sometimes, at a PR firm, you'll get assigned a new client, and, you might understand the basics of what they do or the industry, but you're not necessarily an expert in it. And, to do a good job, you sort of want to become an expert, at least over time. ChatGPT is a great way where you can essentially understand just an information database that you can use for educational purposes for yourself, to brief your clients, to provide information for your clients, to just come off as an expert in a specific topic. It's sort of the most basic reason ChatGPT was made, just to answer questions and provide information on a topic, idea, product, history, etc.
Mm-hmm. Okay, very good. Now, in addition to that, let's talk about ChatGPT also expanding your media list.
Awesome. So in terms of media lists, ChatGPT doesn't yet have a component where it could generate emails or specific contact information, but it is a great way to just generate specific media targets you might want to go to for a specific announcement. So in terms of, if you wanted a list of different outlets in a specific industry, for specifically, let's say, the retail industry, you can type in major retail pubs and then you can even narrow it down, like major retail pubs in New York, major retail pubs in the United Kingdom, major cybersecurity newspapers, and it'll just provide a list of a ton of media outlets that are available that you could even do some research in, or just type in, include a sentence or two describing the outlets as well, and you can see a lot of these outlets and see if they're the right fit for the specific outreach you're going for. There are a lot of services out there that provide reporter information, outlet information, but this service can be used as a preliminary tool to just, get a list of specific targets you want to go to, and then you can expand through your own outreach using your company's services to find the specific reporters that are available. But a lot of times there'll be media outlets that you didn't think of that are big media outlets that are perfect in the industry that your client would come off as an expert in and increase the possibility of yielding an interview and potential coverage.
Well, just didn't go into it, but do you know whether this list, they could also include a list of influencers, or do you have to ask specifically for influencers in a particular area?
I don't know yet if it does influencers, but my guess is if it doesn't yet, it will in the nearby future. The way this, and this just goes with artificial intelligence in general, all these companies that have these types of services available are trying to compete with each other. And the best way they're going to compete with each other is offering more and more information, both in terms of accuracy, recency, and the amount of information service can provide. So, you asked in terms of influencers, if it's not already available for ChatGPT, my guess is either that service or a new one will provide that information in the very near future. These companies are racing with each other to create the most all-encompassing artificial intelligence hub out there.
Well, here's one that I thought was very interesting as well. The next one, which is, it can give you a timely interview preparation. Talk about that for a second or so.
So this sort of combines a few of the topics above, the main one being the Instant Research Hub. It's just a great way. A lot of times when you're doing some media outreach, sometimes it'll be some light. It will produce some light responses. Sometimes you'll get 5 to 10 reporters responding for an immediate interview, especially if it's a newsworthy topic. And you still want to send your client a briefing document. The spokesperson will be talking to a reporter, even if they're an expert, even if they're comfortable to speak on the subject 30 minutes or an hour or even shorter. You want to send them as much information as you can so they're properly prepared for the interview. ChatGPT is just a great way to include information very quick way. I mean, the way we do our briefing docs generally at our company is a bio about the reporter, outlet, some recent coverage, and then a list of talking points and potential questions and answers, which is a similar way I imagine most PR firms do it to an extent. A lot of those a lot of those bullets right there in terms of outlet information, in terms of talking points, in terms of potential questions and answers, that's something ChatGPT can instantly create.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you want to, and this goes with all these topics. You want to obviously review it and tweak where necessary, but you know, a lot of times they'll produce pretty strong content that can be used and essentially just inputted right there for your client to see, especially the Q&A component. You know, on the specific topic you're going to go into with a reporter, it has produced some pretty clear and concise sample questions and sample responses. And even more with that, you can, you know, ask it to cite information from your client's site. So if your client's a retail expert and the website they have has a ton of information online about areas in retail, you can ask ChatGPT to generate ways retailers can increase their profits during inflation. You could ask that question to ChatGPT. It gives you an answer, and then you could ask them to cite information from your client as well. And often it will produce information that is essentially client approved because it comes from their site that you can then, you know, just plug into your briefing doc and shoot over to your spokesperson. Mm-hmm. Most of the time they'll know this stuff, but a lot of times they'll be impressed if you send them a briefing doc that's insightful. Even if it does use a lot of information from ChatGPT, they'll just be thankful to have that information ready to go for the interview in such a timely manner.
And in closing, the last one, even though there are other platforms that can do this, ChatGPT also can handle your grammar, spelling, and punctuations for you as you prepare your documents.
Absolutely. So it's, and once again, you said a lot of even Microsoft Word, just about every site that you can type information on does have some components of this. I think the most unique part about ChatGPT is it could sort of rephrase or reword information. There are ways you can phrase a sentence that you're probably not instantly thinking of that ChatGPT can rephrase in a second and comes off smoother, it's grammatically correct, and it just flows better. That's the biggest, I think, advantage with ChatGPT. The specific spelling and grammar information, you know, there are a ton of sites out there that you can use, but the way it can reword and rephrase unique insights is a great way to, you know, tweak pitches, bylines, press releases, angles, etc., and just, you know, utilizing it to produce the best possible content for your clients and potentially the reporters when you pitch them.
Well, Adam, I want to thank you so very, very much for providing this. Are there anything or any items on this list that you think that, or something you think that you might want to add to this list that we haven't covered?
I would just say that I was initially a skeptic of using this technology, but I think it's at the point now, after using it for a few months, where any person that's in the industry is going to have to at least familiarize yourself with ChatGPT, because it really does make your life so much easier. And the best way to use it, you know, there's a fear out there that it'll essentially replace PR people, and a lot of industries have this fear when it comes to AI technology. There's a middle ground where you can essentially embrace it, makes it easier for you to do your work and your best work. And, you know, the clients still want to have you on because you're experts in ways you can utilize ChatGPT. And they still want that human touch. You know, they will want to totally rely on AI themselves either. So there's a middle ground there for the skeptics as well. And if you're not using ChatGPT, I would recommend, you know, checking it out, sort of the way I did it, just to see what it is. And next thing you know, you'll be using it in your day-to-day life for PR and probably a lot of other ways too.
Well, let me say this. I certainly am a believer. I have used it and used some of the results from it in some of the work that I've done, and so I'm a big, strong supporter of it. So again, having read your article, I thought it would be ideal, and I'm so happy that you were able to come join us today on the podcast.
Thanks so much for having me. Okay. Happy to chat about it.
Good. So to my listeners, let me say thank you for joining us. I hope that you've enjoyed the show. If you have some topics for ideas, you can let me know. And if you've enjoyed the show, please give us a great review. So in the meantime, let me again thank Adam Brett for joining us today. And please join us for the next edition of the Public Relations Review podcast. Have a great day.
This podcast is produced by Communication Strategies, an award-winning public relations and public affairs firm headquartered in Nashville, Tennessee. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, this is Peter Woolfolk speaking. Now, first of all, thank you so very much for listening to the podcast. Now, I am very excited to let you know that the podcast is now available on Amazon Alexa. You know the drill. Simply say, Alexa, play Public Relations Review Podcast, and she'll take it from there. And again, thank you for listening. And if you enjoy the program, please become a subscriber. Now, on to the podcast.